Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. defending his handling of vaccines, COVID booster guidelines, and the firing of CDC Director Susan Menarez yesterday on Capitol Hill. 11 out of 12 Democrats on the Senate Finance Committee now demanding his resignation. After that hearing, they write Kennedy, quote, is unfit to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services before he was on the job, which is why every Democratic member of the Senate Finance Committee opposed his nomination. I want to bring in North Carolina Congressman Greg Murphy. Congressman, you co-chair the GOP Doctors Caucus. You're a doctor. Yeah. What was your reaction to everything that you heard yesterday in that hearing?
You know, Cheryl, we have seen, at least in the last 6-9 months, a lot of pendulum swinging. Things happened during the last administration when the pendulum swung so far to the left, where you had Fauci recommending everybody be vaccinated, which was absolutely ridiculous. You had the director of the CDC at the time be negligent, telling 6-month-olds they needed COVID vaccines. And so now it's swung way the other way. And, you know, when I was beginning all with RFK coming through, I thought it's okay to have a healthy disruption of the medical apparatus, as it were, because there have been a lot of things that I, as a physician, have been told by leadership that are simply not true. I think it's okay to look at these. I'm not as far as extreme as what's happening in Florida, because I don't think that's right. There are things that need to be given to children. But RFK mentioned there were 60-some vaccines given to under 16-year-olds. I had to actually look that up. I was blown away at that. So I think it's okay to look at this. Does it need to be as acrimonious and attacking as it is? Well, sometimes when the Democratic structure has their entire structure questioned, which they've done for years and years, this is the result. But, it's going to be tough times. We need true research to say what is right, what is wrong. I don't believe that 6-month-olds should be vaccinated for COVID. On the other hand, pregnant women, I've talked to a lot of OBGYNs, absolutely believe they should be vaccinated. So I hope it's a time that, while it's tumultuous, we can actually get to the truth and know what's good and how vaccinate the right people, the target individuals that really benefit from these.
What did you mean when you said that you've been told things by the administration that weren't true? Can you give us an example?
So the CDC lied to us about child mortality from COVID during COVID. They said it was 4 times higher than it really was. They went back and had to scrub their data and did a very quiet mea culpa about the number of kids affected. If you are a healthy child, you do not need the COVID vaccine any more than a healthy 18-year-old or 35-year-old male. I did the data myself, scrubbing it myself. 18 to 35-year-olds had up to a 3 to 4 times higher incidence of myocarditis from being vaccinated than COVID itself. But no, Fauci came out with everybody gets a glass of milk and everybody gets a vaccine, which is not the intent of vaccines. So I think it just requires some real thought on this part. And it's painful for some of those who have just preached the theology and the dogma for quite so long that every vaccine is okay.
I want to stay with this topic with you. And thank you for clarifying that you were talking about the Biden administration. That's a very key thing to make sure we get out there. I want you to listen to something else that Senator Warren said to RFK Jr. yesterday. Watch this.
I'm not taking them away. Everybody can get access to them.
No, they can't walk into a pharmacy the way they could last month and get access.
It depends on the state. It depends on the states.
A year ago,
but they can still get it. Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it, Senator.
This, between the two of those statements, I think it's the recommendations. And her point is if you change the recommendations, then CVS is going to say, we're not going to provide it, or insurance companies maybe aren't going to cover the cost. So can you help us understand this?
Yeah, there's a recommendation saying, hey, you're supposed to get these recommendations, and then insurance companies will pay for it. Well, if it's not recommended, nor should it be for 6-month-old COVID vaccines, then if you want it, you can still access it. You just have to pay for it. So there is a difference between that. She's being disingenuous in saying you can't access it, but you don't really need to. This is where, again, the CDC has overstepped what it was doing and jumped in with the Kool-Aid of the Fauci regime and saying every vaccine needs to be done for everybody. It's not right. These are targeted therapeutics. They're targeted medicines. You don't give heart medicine to somebody for breast cancer. So I think it's okay that you have this healthy disruption. It's unfortunate that it's turned this acrimonious, but let's get back to real science. And I think the whole medical establishment now is having a real shakeup because of so many studies being thrown out now that basically have been altered and lied. And I think it's a very challenging time in medicine, but one that is long, long overdue.
One thing I also want to ask you about, because this is North Carolina, Senator Tom Tillis had a line of questioning about the funding for mRNA technology, for the future of the technology. This was the underlying technology behind the COVID vaccine. Operation Warp Speed, we ended up spending $12.4 billion, right? But what he was saying is he is not happy about that $500 million being pulled, the recommendation to pull the funding, and that's what RFK Jr. has done, his department, because that technology, there still could be studies done, and they're planning studies. It could treat cancer, genetic disorders, autoimmune disease, allergies, all these things. And so, but what I thought was interesting is, that's the research triangle in North Carolina. That is your state. Can you talk to us about this?
Yeah, no, and this is where I'm probably going to split with RFK on this. I think that funding should continue. The mRNA has been a technology that's been around for quite a long time. And there are some issues with it. And again, it does need to be studied. And look, let me just back up a second here. I was very much pro-vaccine when this vaccine came out, but for targeted individuals, those who are at risk. We do need to study these things. We don't need to blanket say, hey, they're great and not worry about them, because I've seen vaccine injuries and they have occurred. Okay. So let's take a technology that shows great promise. Let's not defund it. Let's look at it and see where it's really going to be utilized well and where it maybe we just need to take it off the shelf.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I've only got about 20 seconds left with you, but really quick. We saw those pictures of former President Biden, and he had that bandage on his head, and now they're saying it's, he had surgery to treat skin cancer, and, he's 82 years old. He's got stage 4 prostate cancer months ago, but they're saying it spread to his bones. I just wanted to get your reaction to that before you go.
Well, I'm a urologist. I've dealt with prostate cancer patients for 35 years. Some do fine with it spread to the bone upon presentation. I think it was absolute negligence on the behalf of his doctor not to screen him for prostate cancer. Hell, he's going to be the leader of the free world. We can debate about screening where it is, but he's going to be the leader of the free world. I've seen people live several years with this on medications. I've also seen people die within months who present with metastatic disease. So the skin cancer thing's totally unrelated. Heck, I had one of those done about 6 weeks ago myself. So.
All right. Congressman Greg Murphy, Dr. Murphy, thank you so much, sir, for joining us this morning. The timing was wonderful to have you on the show with everything that unfolded yesterday. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Cheryl. Take care.